There is a potential disaster brewing in the Bay of Bengal right now. To just add on top of the continuing coronavirus epidemic the countries in the region are dealing with, let's talk about Super Cyclone Amphan. Became the strongest storm ever recorded in the Bay on Monday night, after intensifying with sustained wind speeds of up to 270 kilometers per hour. It is just the second super cyclone to hit the Bay of Bengal since records began. During the last, back in 1999, nearly 15,000 villages were affected and almost 10,000 people were killed. And you can see here sort of an expected track of its progress throughout Wednesday and Thursday. And look, this is obviously purely on its own merits, potentially a disaster. Like we said, the last one killed 10,000 people. By the way, from that graphic, I believe that you can see Kolkata in the path of it. Yeah, there are lots of people living there, and so potentially disaster for that reason. But also, we are, of course, still in the middle of a pandemic, and that means that mass movements of people, mass sheltering of people, once they've been moved out of the way of this storm, is going to, bring its own potential dangers as well. And so, I feel horrible for the people. Like, they're saying up to 300,000 people in the coastal areas of West Bengal and Odisha are in immediate danger from the storm and need to be moved. And they're already under the gun from coronavirus. And, they have cyclone shelters, 12,000 of them, but you have to social distance. And so, theoretically, it's going to be much harder. You're going to have to move people farther. It's going to affect more of the region. And this is, at the very least, for people in the U.S., a reminder that it's not like the other threats that we face have suddenly gone away. It's very easy to callously throw off hey, more people die from car accidents and the regular flu than coronavirus, which isn't even true. But even if it were, those deaths are still happening too. And so this is a reminder that we have other disasters that are creeping up on top of the one that we're currently still struggling with. And
another reminder that science needs to be listened to. We're seeing the intensity of these storms just, multiply and multiply. And that has to do directly with oceans warming, climate change, science being disregarded because it doesn't pose an immediate threat that's right in front of your face. Mm-hmm. The cyclone isn't about to hit these Republicans or conservatives or whatever right in the face, so they don't want to act now. But as we've seen in this pandemic, as we've seen in the discussion of climate change for decades now, we need to take proactive action, not reactive action, when it comes to handling natural disasters and pandemics or diseases like this. And people in coastal areas like this, in highly densely populated areas like in this part of India, they're going to be hit the hardest. And the poorer you are, the less resources you have, you're going to reap these deadly consequences more acutely than the people who are making the decisions at the top, the callous, reckless decisions at the top.
100%. And I wonder, hopefully they'll be able to get people out of the way, they'll weather it fine, do testing and stuff like that. But if it is bad, any sort of disaster like this internationally right now is going to face much more significant hurdles in terms of international aid. Lack of resources and lack of bandwidth to deal with the issues of other countries. That's certainly a fear that I have. And here domestically, right now they're facing this super cyclone. Hurricane season in the U.S. For much of the East Coast starts in June. And we've been hit by both devastating hurricanes and devastating wildfires, the different coasts, over the past couple of years. When those hit, what's going to end up happening when you're having people packed in to limited areas? Or theoretically, you have people, say, in Florida, a state that's reopening, trying to get back to normal as much as possible. If those people have to flee to other parts of the state or to other states in the region to get away from a number of hurricanes, as has happened, I have family in Florida that has had to flee to Georgia multiple times. And Georgia itself is having issues. All of this compounds itself. And so I don't have any solutions, but I want people to bear in mind that these things act on each other, and I am very worried that, as Emma said, that people aren't going to listen to the experts in either end of this, the pandemic side or, you know, the natural disaster and the links to climate change.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.